ShinRobjira.
What's going on there, friends and neighbors? I am ShinRobjira, and welcome to the beginning of my 5-part bi-weekly mini-series on the LEGO Galidor Defenders of the Outer Dimension line. Now, before I can get to the content that's going to boggle your eyes and wet your whistles, I have to hand it over to a pre-recorded version of myself reading a script. Take it away, Rob! Galidor, or Galidor Defenders of the Outer Dimension, was a theme introduced by LEGO in 2002, just a year after the massive success that was Bionicle. The line itself was reportedly in production before the show of the same name that LEGO would partially fund because, yes, they believed in this line that much. The show broadcasted on Fox Kids and would later move on to ABC Family, where it would finish its 2-season and 26-episode run. The Galidor line itself is considered a commercial failure and one of the worst-selling LEGO lines of all time, mainly due to bad design issues and lack of compatibility with other LEGO themes. I don't much understand how that made it a failure since it's supposed to be its own thing, but alrighty. 15 sets were officially released from the line, with 2 of those 15 being released in limited quantities and 2 being cancelled rather quickly. I'm not sure what the second cancelled release was, but the first one was this Mako Shock motorcycle. The limited releases were Tager and Aquart respectively. Back to you, present day Rob. Yeah, man, LEGO was riding that Bionicle success high a little too much, man. They put a lot into this series and into the show, and both kind of ended up just fizzling out. Now, unfortunately, the TDN module and Keck Powerizer, I've never owned them. They were never available at my Toys R Us for whatever reason, but the funny side to all that is the 2 limited release figures, Aquart and Tager, were at my Toys R Us for months. I just never picked them up because I was back on my Bionicle high, and that really makes me upset with myself entirely. So let's get to that eye-boggling content, shall we? And here we have them. 2 Nicks, an Allegra, and a Xenop. Or a Xenop. I don't know how you'd go about producing them, but anyway. Before I get started, if this video ends up really quenching your thirst for just weird stuff, I'm going to have a link in the description below to 2 channels. One is going to be for the Boulder. He essentially has the entire series, the entire released series of these, and he goes into real depth with the characters, their backstories, who they are, what they are integral to the story. And the other person that I'm gonna have linked down below, their channel is called Rise Bell, and they actually own one of the only 3 Mokar motorcycle bikes from this line. It was the Mako Shock motorcycle that I was joking about before. So again, if this video piques your interest, please do check those 2 channels out because they're gonna go a lot more in depth into certain things than I am. So anyway, Galidor, Defenders of the Outer Dimension, ShinRobjira. Let's get started by looking at some promotional materials. So here we have a mini poster that came with the basic Nick set. You're going to see the TDN module, the Deluxe Nick Bluetooth figure, Gorm, that's the normal version of Gorm, I do believe. And then down here we are going to see Jens or Jens. I have a feeling Nick called him Jens in an episode or 2. I'm not sure, it's been so long. Allegra Zane, Nepal, Euripides, and Ani. Now, it's funny, I don't think Ani ever really fully appeared in the show. Correct me if I'm wrong. But on the back of this here mini poster, you're going to see, I don't know, just like a situation between Nick, Gorm, and Jens or Jens over here. They're showing off the Glinching ability and gimmick that these figures have. Down here, you can see other figures from the line that were available, I believe, right from the very start. Could be wrong. And then over here they talk about the Galidor game for PC and PlayStation 2, and they're talking about Keck Powerizer. This guy over here, which was a figure and a digital device that would allow you to interact with both the show and the website, I believe, as well. Maybe even the game. I'm not sure. If I ever come across that for a decent price and this series does well, I will definitely talk about Keck Powerizer. Did you think I was done? Well, I'm not, because I've got another. Here we have a Galidor Defenders of the Outer Dimension, not comic, but advertisement booklet. Here we've got a read-up on Nick and Allegra, the world they are going to, the series villain, Gorm, what Glinching is. Over here, they are telling you all about the different realms that the characters will be traveling to throughout the show. And over here, we've got a read-up on a couple other characters, Jens, Euripides, Nepal, Gorm, and the 2 quote-unquote limited releases, Aquart and Tager. I don't know if they were officially like limited because I saw them in my Toys R Us and I still hate myself for never buying them. But they are definitely two of the harder ones to find. So yeah, I guess they were limited releases. And again, they all have read-ups below them. And here we have Nick's Guide to Glinching. Basically, I think they're just giving away a couple like tiny little plot points from the show, and they're telling you what this power of Glinching is and what exactly it is for, which is very cool, very different, very interesting. So it really does give purpose to this series' gimmick, and that's interchangeable parts, action figures that can become different action figures overall, which personally was the main reason why I was so into this series when it first came out. And here we have a full-on read-up on Keck Powerizer, the ultimate interactive toy. And as you can see on the back, it's like one of those Tiger Electronic games and everything, and I'm pretty sure there was like a sensor or something was bending light and signals and swapping stuff and everything. But here's the figure. You'd either get a Yen's head, or a Gorm head, and I think that would essentially affect what you got on the back of the figure. You can perform daring missions to save Galidor. Holy crap. And here's the Game Boy Advance game. I actually have this. I don't think it was honestly that bad of a game. It was a pretty solid platformer. I think the controls were a little bit wonky, but overall it was a good time. And that's essentially it. Very basic Lego. You could win, like, you know, all this crazy stuff. This display is like real. This is what it looked like at Toys R Us, and it was crazy. And it's so weird to think that this was such like a poor selling series, because I'd go to like Toys R Us and this thing would be crowded with kids getting different sets. So I guess it just wasn't enough, which is weird. And then here we have Nick and Allegra Zane on the back over here. Like, I'm not gonna lie, from what I remember of the show was like Firefly for kids almost. I don't know if Firefly came first or not, but it very much had that Star Wars, Star Trek feel to it, like just, you know, for a younger audience. It was really, really rich and deep in the lore and everything, and it was just a really cool little show, and the figures, I personally feel, aren't the freaking failures that that Lego considers them. Well, yeah, they did underperform massively, apparently, but when looking at these figures, nostalgia goggles removed and all, I really don't have an issue with them. But don't worry, I am going to discuss the down points, so let's get into talking about detail, then we'll get into articulation, and we'll go a little bit further with some other things there. So when taking a look at our two main characters over here, Nick and Allegra, they're basic human characters. Clearly, Nick's got a metallic arm, and don't worry, we'll get into that. But with all the criticisms that I've seen of this line, the detail really isn't horrible. It's not bad at all, really. Like, from what I understand, I believe the thighs to knees and then knees to ankles were just reprints of one another, including the shoes. They were just painted differently because they do essentially look the same. They're showing off 2000s popular cargo pants we got going on over here. I still love cargo pants. They are so comfortable. Very minimal detail that we are going to be getting over here. You know, the pant legs are going to be sagging around the sneakers and everything, but you're going to be getting some nice folds. Again, you're going to see pockets on here. When getting to the crotch regions over here, you can see a zipper, you can see somewhat of a belt going on with Allegra. So even though that these were essential repaints, you're still going to get different details on them and areas around them. And then when coming up to the chest areas, clearly there are going to be two different molds. You're going to see the very basic and very different shirt molds that we have here with the different details, the pectorals, Allegra's chest, the different kinds of sleeves, the different types of necks on each of the shirts. Nick, for whatever reason, has a V-neck with a shirt under it with these figures. I don't know why. I guess it was just to show that there's a collar there instead of it just being a blank chest. Allegra has somewhat of a Velma Dinkley saggy turtleneck going on there. I guess that's just another thing just to show that, you know, they weren't being lazy and they actually molded in different parts instead of them just being blank over here. Good on ya. Now, Allegra over here doesn't have sleeves, but Nick does, and you can see that very basic shoulder to elbow detail on the sleeves. Nothing crazy, nothing, no, groundbreaking. Now, from what I've read, apparently these figures were designed before the show was even in production, so that's why Allegra's figure really doesn't look like Allegra. I do believe Nick Bluetooth was designed around Matthew Ewald, I believe his name is. But for the most part, they look like early 2000s figures. They have enough life in their eyes to the point where they don't look like deranged killers. They do have these weird, like, little half smiles going on, so that might be a little little bit haunting to a sense, but the lips are painted, the eyes are fully painted, they both have eyebrows that look like actual eyebrows. The hair is sculpted in like this Lego rubber, something to that extent. You can see like some of the dust on Nick's hair back here. For the most part, the hair and the heads look fine. Look at that, even on the back of these figures, you'll get some pretty nice detail, especially when it comes to the pants. Okay, now you're probably asking, what happened to that black thing on Nick's chest? Well, it's right here. I just wanted to show the detail on the chest and everything, just to show that it is there. This is Nicholas's backpack. I don't know how it functioned as a major backpack, but it does look really, really cool. Again, this is coming from somebody with very limited knowledge on the show, but the detail is very, very nice. Apparently, this is extremely screen accurate, so that's very nice. It's made out of a very malleable rubber, and basically, you just take his arm off, you fit it over his head, and bing, bang, boom, Ronnie, you're done. Just like that. Now I'm gonna head over into articulation. Now, these figures, I don't care how big of a failure LEGO considers them, these figures are dang solid when it comes to articulation. Now, before I actually go about articulating, basically this part goes in and these parts go throughout these little like little ridges, these teeth in there, and in that you will get ratchet joints. And boy howdy, they hold their pose very, very well. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to Allegra, both of her arms are in a fixed position, and I feel like that was just such a huge mistake. Allegra is this bad scientist gal. She can kick your ass, and she could probably outsmart you in nearly every which way. So the fact that she was limited and has her arms in a soul karate pose is unfortunate. I feel like she definitely should have been a little bit more articulate, especially in the arms. But anyway, you can go all the way around with the arms. Decent flapping motion. Literally any angle you can think of, they can pretty much go. And you'll be able to go all the way around with the other arm as well. Don't go too far up because you will pop the arm off. That might be one of the major design flaws for these, but in reality, just like, don't push it too far. It's like you wouldn't do that with a normal figure, so there you go. You will get a swivel at the wrists over here. Just before I forget, because I will forget, you can go all the way around with the head. You can look that far up and that far down. You got to be careful because the heads will pop off. And with Allegra, this is exclusive to her. Her ponytail over here is articulated as well, and it can come off. Dear God, that is kind of haunting, but yeah, that's articulated. And then when it comes to the legs, you're gonna get the same thing that you got with the arms. The legs can go out really, really far. They can kick that far up, decent bend, and you are going to get a ball joint at the ankle over here. Let me see if I can actually get a good shot of the ball joint here. Yeah, you see that? You are going to get an amazing pivot with these figures. It's just with Allegra and Nick in general, the pivoting is a little bit limited due to the pant legs. So you won't be getting these two into the craziest of poses, but other figures from the line though, oh man. Now, you're essentially going to get the same amount of articulation with Nick that you got with Allegra, except with Nick, you're actually going to be able to have a bend at the elbow, and you'll be able to, swivel at the elbow as well. Same with the wrists, legs, and this, and that, and this third range of movement. Now, the other major difference with Nick is that he has this arm, has a play feature, just squeeze these, and boom. Sock someone right in the face. So you are going to have a swivel at this joint, and you're also going to be able to bend in and out, but you're going to be able to swivel up here as well. I really didn't mean for that to come out. I pulled a little bit too hard on it. So yeah, you will be able to swivel all the way around with this. And when it comes to the fist over here, this may swivel as well, and it will still be able to punch you. Now, I'm sure that you all remember that there was more than one version of Nick on screen before, and that is because this figure came with a deluxe variant as well. The major thing with the deluxe variants on these is just that they mostly would feature different paint jobs and a couple of different accessories. So in Nick's case, he has darker colors, a darker colored shirt, pants, and shoes, and he came with the wing arms, the jet wings, the jet arms, something like that. He does have, his arms and everything that match his shirt and everything. The deluxe version is actually my preferred version of Nick Bluetooth, so I'd always have the backpack on him, but we're going for accuracy today. Now, when it comes to Deluxe Nick over here, again, same articulation. You're going to be able to make the wings go forward and back and all the way around on both sides, mind you. And yes, you will there you go. You will be able to fire these by pressing on the switches, and they do fire pretty hard. And if you're a Lego Technique kid or a Bionicle kid, these will look very familiar to you. Now let me go get that missile. Now, when it comes to these jet arms, these wing arms, these turbine arms, you have a lot of very nice detail over here. You got the turbines, you got the panel lining over here, you got little bolts and trinkets and everything. And you're going to get a lot of turbine detail molding in here as well. You can actually see the spring in there. Everywhere they went with this line, they really did add a lot of detail. You can even see the little bumps along the lines over here. Very, very nice. Like, yeah, call it a failure all you want. Look, even on the missile, you have like little detail there. Very, very nice. Oh yeah, I forgot about Xenop or whatever. Here's Allegra's little fish kill me now dog cat thing. So this is mainly just a hunk of plastic. It really doesn't do much. You have a swivel at the tail. You got an up and down motion at the head, and the head can go all the way around. But when taking a closer look at it, the detail on this thing is mighty, mighty fine. Not so much on the bottom, but on the inside of the legs, you'll get some detail. You'll get detail on both the back and sides of the figure. Looks very, very nice. One of the things that I think the Galidor line did very, very well was detail with mechanical and even organic, like different creatures and everything, because this looks fantastic. This looks fantastic. Taking a closer look at the head, like that just looks awesome. I mean, he does look like a very, very, something goldfish. Like he's seen some in his days across as many incarnations, but the detail on this is nice, and even though it can only, you know, go forward and back with the head, it's the same thing happening over and over. Yeah, it's nice. So now you're probably all asking these questions. Why does this guy have a metal arm? Why does he have wings sprouting from his sockets and everything? The big gimmick for this line, as I stated before, is that these are action figures you can take apart and make into different action figures. You can tell that every joint can be removed from the figure and can be replaced with a different part. In the show, it's called Glinching, and basically the ability to glinch is for you to switch body parts with a different person or with different items to help you kind of tackle like different bumps in the road that may come about. Like in the video game, for example, Nick would use Euripides' legs. Euripides is like this frog character to jump really high. You know, he gets attacked by somebody and he uses his metal crazy punch and fap arm over here to really knock them a good one. To get out of someplace pretty quickly, Nick glinched and used his jet turbine arms to just get the heck out of there. So from what I remember, technically Nick is the only human character that can glinch, so Allegra herself cannot glinch kinetically. But since she is a figure in this line, that means that she has interchangeable parts and can be interchanged with other people as well. So one of the things I'm going to be doing with this series is just combining and messing with different parts to show you just how different you can get with this, just to, you know, make the videos a little bit more fun. So before I get into a size comparison or anything like that, I'm going to show you my ungodly creations with these figures. So I will be right back. And here's the Omega Abomination that I managed to do with all three of these figures, including Xenop, Xenop, and all that was left was Allegra's ponytail and Nick's two shins and feet. You really can get cursed as heck with these sets, and that is what really, really kept me as a Galidor fan for as long as I was a Galidor fan. Here are our three Galidor figures with the 24 NECA Roaring Godzilla 2014, the standard reissue Godzilla 2014, Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Optimus Prime, the light up walking and talking Robbie the Robot, some NECA Godzilla 2014 mystery minis, and a McDonald's. So overall, when it comes to these three figures, yes, they are the most basic of the series, but even then, I would definitely consider them a lot better than what reviewers called them back in the day, and a lot better than people really give them credit for. I definitely think this is a series that deserves a resurgence of some kind, be it re-releases, which I doubt will ever happen, but more so in especially Lego fans giving these things a shot, especially if they own them and they're not talking about them. Again, the compatibility complaint that I saw for these figures, I still don't understand. I don't know why them not being compatible with other Lego series was an issue. It's a completely different thing. I feel that was grasping at straws there. But overall, the only issues that I really have with them are Allegra's fixated arms, and sometimes they're a little bit harder to pose, but at the same time, it's not something that you can't work around, especially when you're a kid. But anyway, let's cut back to my face and call it a day. And that's how you skin a cat. Yeah, I really do believe that these are probably the weakest sets within this series just because they're so basic in how they are made. Mind you, the next time we come back to this series, I'm going to be talking about another rather basic set. That being the Gorm set, plus his deluxe edition figure, and something else that I have to add with this particular character. I can assure you that after this episode, we're definitely going to be getting into the more creative and meatier sets. You know, the ones that came with just more than basic human character. So I hope you look forward to that. I hope you look forward to the rest of the series. Don't worry, this is not going to be a weekly release. I'm going to do these in tandem, along with bringing back Rob's Godzilla Room reviews, because I do still have to finish off that Oddities arc this year. But anyway, whence next we meet, I am going to be talking about the NECA Godzilla 2014 reissue figure, and then I am going to be doing the Godzilla Day video. Now, I know some of you, you're thinking, Rob, what about next week? Unfortunately, I am not going to be posting a new video next week because I have to take my time to make this video, the Godzilla Day video, and I need to start editing the Thank You NECA video, which if you haven't sent in an entry for, you can still do by following the guidelines and the link to the Google Drive page down below. And if you have a hard time with the Google Drive page, just message me on Instagram or on Discord and you can send your file there. But anyway, I have been ShinRobjira. I will see you all not next week, but the following week. Maybe I'll release the Destroy a behind the scenes video for next week, just so I'm not putting a lapse in anything. And yeah, have a lovely weekend, day, afternoon, and night, everybody. Peace.